Good morning. This is Bobby Dupre with the Bobby Dupre Show, presented to you each Thursday morning at 7 a.m. And of course, many of you watch it on Sunday afternoon when it replays on the cable channels, and that's at 3 p.m. on Sunday afternoons. And of course, those of you watching it on the computers or iPhone, just any internet connection, then you can watch it 1 hour after it shows. Is that what you?
As soon as it finishes.
As soon as it finishes, you can start watching it 24 hours a day. It's up there in the cloud.
In the cloud, that's right.
In the cloud. And my sidekick here, I want to thank you very much for being here, assisting me so well, and Matt LeBlanc. Matt, let's get our good sponsors that make all of this possible for our viewers at no cost.
Absolutely. We want to talk about Carl's Thrifty Way in Opelousas, located on South Union Street. That's 2961 South Union Street. And with Carl's Thrifty Way, you can see these pictures up on the screen. They have a gift shop inside of Carl's Thrifty Way that has a lot of merchandise, be it purses or clothing or jewelry. You can find a lot of this stuff over at Carl's Thrifty Way. And of course, being that they are a Thrifty Way pharmacy, you will see Carl himself up there delivering your prescriptions and doing the compounding and all that good stuff that Carl's have to offer. So make sure that you visit Carl's Thrifty Way or give them a call at 948-7900. We also want to talk about Targill Butcher and Seasoning Supplies. Targill in Opelousas, located on Wartell Avenue in Opelousas. You can visit them online at www.targill.com. They are working on a new website, so it's currently not up right now, but pretty soon they're going to have a new website up there. For all your seasoning and kitchen supply needs, it's Targill Seasoning, www.targill.com, or just go visit them and see their showroom. And we want to tell you about J.B. Sandoz in Opelousas. J.B. Sandoz has been there for over 135 years, and no matter what you need, you could probably find it at J.B. Sandoz. I think the only thing they don't carry there is milk. That's about the only thing you can't find at J.B. Sandoz is milk. And then I'm sure if you asked them, they'd probably go find something for you.
They'd go get it and bring it for you.
But if you need nails, if you need nuts and bolts, if you need fencing, poultry nets, any of that stuff,
barbecue pits, barbecue
kitchen
tools
supplies,
to use when using the pit,
pots,
all of that.
pans, even wedding gifts. They have it all at
nice
J.B.
selection,
Sandoz.
and they wrap it up real nice.
Yes, they do. Yes, they do. And I think they offer free gift wrapping. Don't quote me on that, but I'm pretty sure they do.
They do.
Because I bought some gifts there over the holidays. J.B. Sandoz, located in Opelousas on 312 North Main Street, right across from, the City Court?
City Court
and
the
and the
Opelousas
library.
Museum.
That's right.
And
the library right across the street on the other side.
That's
so,
historic downtown
that's
Opelousas.
Right. That's right. Visit them over at J.B. Sandoz. Tell Neil we said hi.
Okay, we want to show a couple of pictures that we didn't get to last week, and the one that we got to on the Browns, but I couldn't think of Mr. Fontenot's name, Mr. Jasper Fontenot. So would you roll? There you go, right there. Picture of Browns. Every major holiday during the season, they have big sales, tent sales. As you can see in the back of this big truck, is a big tent, and when they bring that merchandise and bring it into that tent, they bring it there with a price that it doesn't have to be placed back into the store. It leaves that place in somebody's vehicle, or one of their trucks will be delivering it for you that day or the following day of the sale. And that is Mr. Jasper Fontenot. I could think of Fontenot and I couldn't think of Jasper. Jasper, we haven't seen each other too long a time. Give me a call one day, and hope business is still good. Brown's, of course, has either 5 or 6 stores in Acadiana. So a known name. Jasper was working for Herbert Brown, if my memory serves me correct. And when Mr. Herbert Brown moved to Florida and had gotten real big into the drug stores, pharmacists, he sold the Brown's furniture stores to Jasper Fontenot, one of his good young employees, and Jasper has kept the name and kept the brand. And you know, all our furniture stores throughout Acadiana have all upgraded. If you noticed, they are really following the time, and Brown's has kept up with the themes going on today.
Absolutely.
And let's get a couple of pictures of
Well, you got
pictures
that
I
one,
had
too,
taken
you wanna-
right there. Okay, that picture right there is the gentleman with the big smile in the center is Buzz Durio, of course, from Opelousas. His father was a Boy Scout. Boy Scout all his life, I guess you could say, and Buzz has followed in his footsteps. Buzz, of course, is a very successful attorney, I might add, in Lafayette, and I might also add that he is still active in the Boy Scouts, and I'll be seeing him at the Boy Scout Awards banquet in which Dr. Brent Prather will be the honoree this year. Harold Foreman and Bobby Dupre were honored last year.
Yeah.
And I'll certainly be trying to make that event. And Dr. Brent Prather, of course, is well-known physician in Opelousas, and he has a practice also in Lafayette,
Yes.
I might add. And the Buzz's wife is on the left, and that's Renee, and on the right is their good close friend, Miss Sarah. And then we're going to show another picture, Mr. Harold Schaffler. Formerly owned Schaffler Cadillac in Lafayette, and his wife, Miss Sarah Schaffler. I reminded Mr. Harold when I met him. I met him after a funeral. We had gone to the funeral. After the funeral, we had gone to the home of Mr. Bob Fournette. And Mr. Bob Fournette and Mr. Harold were very, very good friends. Mr. Bob was one of the alumni prodigies of UL. I mean, he was known and loved by all the students and faculty and members of UL. And we went there, and I had the opportunity to visit with Mr. Harold. I've been reading of Mr. Harold Schaffler and his untiring efforts. Ooh, that's untiring efforts that he has given to the environment and the Chaffalaa Basin. I mean, he devotes every hour that he can to making sure that it's preserved in the nature it is in now. They've done some things that I'm sure they're not happy about, but it's a lot harder today to go in there and take that swamp land and change it into something else. People like Mr. Harold and others, certainly work hard to make sure that that area stays. It's the premier, basin in the United States of America.
Is it really?
It really is. It is the premier basin in the United States, maybe of the world. That's getting kind of big there. But anyhow, it is a very important body of land that we need to preserve.
I drove over it yesterday.
Okay, that's Little Meg's girl, by the way, a horse that I sold when she was a 2-year-old in training. I never did race her under my name, but she's still racing. I think she's an 8-year-old mare now.
Wow.
And I'm in Fashion is a 4-year-old, and he got beat by Little Meg's girl. I had named that after my daughter Megan.
So you took first place, and your old horse took second place.
No, I didn't. I came out fourth. She came out second. She came out her number. That's the gate number they're in.
Oh, gate number.
Gate
okay.
number. Gate number. In fact,
You got me on
little Alligator came out first.
Oh, okay.
All right. There's the Bobby Dupre show still on. Okay. What?
I do want to say something. A lot
Sure.
of you have been emailing. I know you noticed there's been some different programming on the air. We have switched networks over on this channel. We have switched networks from Antenna TV to Heroes and Icons. And Heroes and Icons has programs like NYPD Blue, The Commish, 21 Jump Street, and Hill Street Blues. So it's a different lineup of programming. We do still have all the Antenna TV stuff, the Good Times and the All in the Family. All of that is just on channel 32.2 right now. So you can pick it up on channel 32.2. So if you're looking for it, make sure 32.2 over the air, you'll be able to pick that up.
Okay. And one of the calls that you got was,
from Morgan
Mr.
Goodall.
Morgan Goodall and his wife Helen. They were calling about one of the movies that they like to watch.
They love to watch All in the Family.
Okay.
Archie Bunker.
Who doesn't like that?
Yeah.
That's still a popular movie
absolutely.
today. Well, anyhow, I also noticed a picture recently of Morgan and Helen celebrating their 50th wedding anniversary. I want to congratulate you all. There was a picture in the newspaper. I didn't get to it. I cut it out to talk about it. I never got to it, so I'll mention it now. And another person that I saw made the newspaper, and we have a lot of them that do, was Tammy Saunier. She used to be married to little Eddie Saunier.
Okay, yeah.
Tammy and Lexi. Good morning to you all. Hope you all are doing well. And that's Tammy right here. They're at how you pronounce it?
Xanadu.
Xanadu Royalty Announced. And she is a part of that Mardi Gras
the crew.
Mardi Gras crew. Good. And let's see here. James Robank called me. He lives on the Lewisburg Highway. We had a nice long visit. The blueberries that he raises and sells are just about over, but the figs are just about ready. They're just coming in. So he's on the Lewisburg Highway. When you're heading towards Church Point, it's on the right. His home, you'll see it. And he's got over 100 fig trees, so you ought to be able to pick figs for a good while.
I got one fig tree, and I got more figs than I know what to do with.
Okay.
They're so good.
And I've got my boxing shirt on with the state emblem on it. I'm attending a meeting at 1:30, so we got to move quick here. 1:30 in Baton Rouge, and at the same time, I'm going to be bringing over some boxing items that have been donated to the future museum that we're setting up.
Okay.
Eric Leger, Opelousas High champion, brought over his Brinks Trophy. He was one of the winners of the Brinks Trophy, and a pair of boxing gloves. And Larry Oye, who was also a state champion from Mamou High, brought over a pair of boxing gloves and the state champion trophy that they were awarded in 1952 for being the Louisiana State High boxing champion. So we're starting to pick up items. Any of you listening that boxed high school boxing and you have any type of memorabilia from those days, a sweater or boxing gloves, or maybe you have your whole suit. Some of them kept their suits. We had to turn ours in. Boxing was still going on. I graduated in '55, which was the last year that I boxed, and I only boxed a very few fights that year. I went out 2 weeks before the state tournament, so didn't get the, probably better. I'd probably be punchy by then because they used me as a punching bag. But anyhow, we had fun, and it built up some intestinal fortitude. That's what they called it.
That's right.
That's what they referred to it back in there. And Coach Ducharme and Coach Kermit would stand us up against the wall with our hands like this, and for 2 minutes just pound you in the stomach. And well, look, I'm still alive and still got a little up and get it. So James Robant, don't forget him. Boxing items, I'm going to bring those to Baton Rouge. I'm going to be calling Don Landry, who's done so much for Louisiana high school boxing records.
He sure has. He sure has.
He wrote a book, and he helped, not helped, he actually did all the preparations for the awards that were awarded in 2 different events 2 years ago. So,
he's worked hard on the last 2 reunions.
And now he's just as
organized.
Organized for the museum. Now it's all about the museum, which will be set up in Plaquemine, Louisiana, which had some great boxing teams, I might add, and some great boxers, and they're still pretty active over there. That group still meet about once a month. Good. And that's got to be a lot of fun, reminiscing, and probably some of them are champions today that weren't champions then, but the crowd changed. I'm just joking, guys. I'm just joking. We wouldn't do that, would we? Okay, what we need take a break.
We can take a break right now. It's a good time for it, so y'all hang tight, and we'll be back in 1 minute.
1 minute. Welcome back to the second quarter of the Bobby Dupre Show. For those of you that might be first-timers, the program is done in 4 quarters, and while we don't rush as much as the fourth quarter, we are typical like the NASCAR races. We put the Pedal to the metal.
I'm trying to give you a head start this week so that way you're not playing catch up.
Let's get some of our good sponsors again, please.
We want to talk about Quarters Casino just north of Opelousas.
Exit 23.
Exit 23. You always know that exit. I mean, pretty good at that. It's, of course, for your good Chevron fuel. You can get Hunt Brothers Pizza there, Subway. They have a cat scale. And, of course, all the slot machines you can get your hands on. The video poker, try your luck. There are plenty of them there for you to choose from. So, Quarters Casino. And we want to tell you about El Pico de Gallo, authentic Mexican restaurant inside. Absolutely amazing, authentic Mexican food at Quarters Casino and Travel Plaza on I-49 exit 23. Visit them over there. And some other good friends of ours in Opelousas. You want to visit St. Landry Homestead whenever you get a chance and see all of their new improvements, I should say. The signage, the electronic banking. You can see them for personal banking, business banking, e-banking, lending solutions, anything you need. There's
and still have people there to sit across a desk and discuss your needs.
Old-time service with
all the latest
newfangled technology. Yep. Exactly. St. Landry Homestead. See them over there. Locations in Opelousas, Eunice, and Port Barry. Visit them online at www.stlandryhomestead.com. And we want to tell you about the Medicine Shop Pharmacy in Opelousas. Do you know anyone who has had shingles? Then you must know how much suffering there is. Why not lessen the chance of getting shingles by getting your shingles vaccine at the Medicine Shop? It's covered by the Medicare prescription drug plan, usually with a copay, and some private insurances like Blue Cross cover it 100%. So don't wait, protect yourself. They also have a new pneumonia vaccine, the one you've heard about on TV. No prescription is required for these vaccines. You can just show up and get your vaccine. So go see Dirk Andrepont over at the Medicine Shop in Opelousas for your shingles vaccines and your pneumonia vaccines. That's Medicine Shop, 1717 South Union, Opelousas.
Okay. I called Mr. Hammy Patin's room number at Lafayette General. Got to speak to Hammy a little bit, but I made my visit short. I just wanted to see how he was doing. I had visited him and I reported on that last week, and he doing well. Well, he had a little setback and was brought back into ICU. Anytime there's a, you know, if you're needing 24-hour intensive care, they bring you back into ICU, and he's doing well. I'm sure he's going to be going back to his private room relatively soon. But got to talk to his wife Judy, and everything is going well. And I talked to Hammy also, I might add. And the one thing that I want all of us to remember Hammy in your prayers. He's a person about my age, and when you have some setbacks, it may take a little bit longer. And we all believe in the prayers. So please remember Hammy, and let him get back to doing what he does best, kind of like yours truly here. Always got a good story. Keep up the good recovery. And I might add, talking about recoveries, there was a show on Glenn Campbell's life, and they showed his life since he started and went into this terrible disease, Alzheimer's.
Alzheimer's, right.
He has Alzheimer's, and about the only thing he was able to do at the end, it was over a period of a few years. It showed his last tour, and it showed when it started, it was about a one-year tour, and where he started, he was still in fairly good shape, and at the end of the year, about the only thing he could do was sing some songs.
Yeah.
He would still remember some of the words and songs, and a little prep, and his wife and others would kind of assist him there. But that's sad. But what they did is they told a story. This can happen to anybody. This is Glenn Campbell probably at one time sold more records than any other musician. Might still have the record for the largest number of records sold, and yet it attacked him. It's got him, and they let the press come in, the cameras come in, and take his life from early in the morning till at night when he performed. And I had tears in my eyes. I really did. It made me feel funny But then it made me feel so happy for the family that they're doing this. They're allowing their private lives to be shown that this is a disease. We're spending billions now. We need to spend some more extra billions, because that is really a bad, bad way to end your life.
Yeah, yeah. It's a cruel disease.
And let's see what pictures we have. Well, no, let me get this. Mustn't forget this. Hi, Bobby. Our annual meeting will be held at the museum. That's the Orphan Train Museum in Opelousas on the east end of the city. When you're coming in off the I-49, that's the first project
right by the farmers market.
Right by the farmers market and all the other buildings there. Well, the museum was dedicated, I guess now it's probably 5 years. Time flies so fast.
Right.
And it's an annual gathering, and it's for Saturday, July the 11th. That's this Saturday, and it goes from 1 p.m. until 5 p.m. Have great refreshments and snacks for our attendees. It's free, and everyone is welcome. If you just want to go and learn more about it, you have an interest, well, that's a good time to go and get there a little early so you can get yourself a chair. And then Harold Dupre sent me this email here. He says, incidentally, and he's talking to me, Bobby, you are not that little boy from Plaisance, you are that little boy from Andropon. Well, Harold, I'm not going to get into a contest with you, but I wrote down here, Harold, I have always said from Plaisance. Not sure where the dividing line is located. Actually, Brian Ledoux and Sybil Dupre, both deceased, said I lived in Prairie Ronde. So, oh well, I'm still the little boy from Plaisance. I'd agree that you are from Andropon, because he was closer to what we call Andropon than I was. Attend the Orphan Train Museum if you want to get another little further up on what takes place when we in person getting on with it. But anyhow, thank you for sending this, and it's a fun thing. You're gonna learn so much about the heritage of these orphans. Came in as young boys and girls. My daddy was like 3 years old, something around 3. Most of them around 2.5 to 5. And over 2,000 of them came into South Louisiana. And most of them came into South Louisiana because they came from a Catholic home. The New York Foundling Home was run by some nuns. And annually, they'd come about twice a year to make sure that the young orphans were living in a home that was a good home for them to be raised in, that they were going to church, and that they were attending school, and they were being well treated. And Daddy had a good home. I can report, as one of the Orphan Train's descendants, my dad had a good home. He had a good mama and a good daddy. And he passed that on to me, John, and Cody. So thank you, Dad, for taking that trip down south. Boy, that was right. Didn't know where they were going, but didn't know how to talk French. And when they got to South Louisiana back at the turn of last century, 1904, up to 1907, 1908, that was very little English talk back then. It was mostly French, but of course they learned both languages, English and French. Okay, you have our sponsors.
We took care of our sponsors.
You took care of our sponsors. Okay, let's get a picture or two on there as they come up.
Well, that's the studio.
Yeah, that's the studio. You're trying to show yourself
the view
again.
From your side.
Yeah. Dylan is something else. Okay, this picture here is a new concept, a new grocery with a new concept. You want to go ahead and speak about that?
We can talk about them right now. That's the owners of Piggly Wiggly over in Opelousas. That will be Kevin Doucette, and our good friend Joey Quibido works for Kevin, and they've just recently converted one of the Piggly Wigglies on the one on the south side to a new Cash Saver. It's called Cash Saver's Grocery Store. And personally, I can attest to this. The prices there are absolutely amazing.
I went there, and I agree with you. And they have more waiters for you to check out.
They sure do.
And a lot more shopping taking place.
Very pleasant experience.
It's taking off real good.
Yes.
I hope it can just hang on like that and
I
grow
do
from what I saw. If it grows from that, it's going to be a big success.
It's great. So if you have a chance, go visit them. If you didn't know about it, it's well, I don't want to say the formerly known as Piggly Wiggly on the south end of town in the Heather, off of Heather Drive right there by Mama's Fried Chicken.
And they still have the one on North End on the old Washington Highway, and also
Simsport.
And Simsport.
There you go. I beat you to that one. That
Yeah. Okay. Next picture, please. Okay, this is a lady that I visited with. She's from Lafayette. I can't find her name. I know I have it somewheres in there, but she allowed me to take a picture, and she had enjoyed her evening, and like so many others, she had used the valet parking.
That's at Evangeline Downs.
At Evangeline Downs. No, I'm sorry about that. And the valet parking, actually no cost. It's on a tip basis. You tip the young people that retrieve your car and park it for you in a safe place, I might add. And everything is smooth. So thanks. And we're looking at a couple of pictures.
He's pretty.
That was this is Sam Bro showing us one of the ponies that's for sale that Jim Dimmel owns. And I was with Mr. Joe Rink. And
beautiful horse.
Yep, beautiful horses. Sam takes good care of them, and they are for sale. Okay, and this was taken over at King's Truck Stop. You are correct. This is Mr. Ezekiel Joseph. Mr. Joseph is a long-time friend of mine from Opelousas. He was with his daughter. Miss Yvette had brought him there, and she wouldn't let me take her picture, but anyhow, she's a pretty lady, and I don't know why she didn't, but that's okay. She takes good care of her father, Mr. Ezekiel Joseph, I might add. And also at King's Truck Stop, Vicky noticed that we had talked recently about there was a commercial, not a commercial, documentary on these Volkswagen buses and campers.
Say, you ran into the Scooby-Doo crew right there. That looks like the Mystery Machine.
They had all kind of names for those, but this is a couple, and in fact, is the son and the mother that went to I think it was Arizona, to pick this little unit up, and then they went into California, and they were all the way going back to Florida. They're from Florida, and his name is Jamie Houston, and his mother's name is Sharon Houston, and he's in the lumber business, tree preserving business. Tree specialist is what it is. Branch Management is the name of his company. That's true.
That's cute.
And it's a Toyota pickup truck pulling a vintage Volkswagen bus camper.
Well, I tell you what, if Volkswagen was smart, they'd re-release those. They are in high demand.
They are. They traveled 3,000 miles to pick this unit up. But Vicky had just seen a documentary on these little buses, and there's a lady that showed them all the tools. She had one little package of tools. That's all it takes to work on the engine, on the whole van. And she also showed them a little box with the major parts that may go wrong on the bus. You can change it yourself.
Then and there.
And this couple here told me that they had seen that. And of course, that makes them, I think, their 5th unit they purchased.
Wow.
So they
German
love
engineering.
Yep, they love them. They love them.
Well, we need to take a quick little break.
Again?
And, yeah, we got a couple more pictures to show. You got a few pictures this week, so when we come back, we'll have some more pictures
Whole
for
bunch
you.
from the boat parade.
There you go.
Welcome back to the 3rd quarter of the Bobby Dupre Show, and my sidekick here, Mr. Matt LeBlanc. We'll get right into some obituaries. Is that correct, Dylan? All right, bring them on up. And this is Ms. Murphy. Ms. Murphy was from last week. Her husband is Mr. Paul Murphy. And I saw Mr. Paul when he walked into Kelly's Diner last week. And I could tell he was not in that jovial mood he's always in. And I said, is there anything wrong? I could see something. He said, well, he says, I just lost my wife. And naturally, they were close. And the funeral and all took place last weekend. And Mr. Paul, of course, is retired postmaster from Port Barry. You probably knew him over the years. Sure. Very nice guy and a good family. Our deepest sympathy. And we have Mr. Leon Packer, Mr. Alfred, better known as Mr. Al Leon Packer. And he was age 84. He's been dead and buried by now, but somehow or another I didn't get to it last week. And Mr. Al had a large metal. He sold materials for metal buildings. Okay. The steel part and the metal to cover them. And had a big business at one time, and I had some fond memories. The few times I was with him, he's a very interesting person to visit with. Of course, I knew his brother Walter Leon Packer, who developed 3 Mile Lake. Oh. And we're going to be showing some pictures of boat parade that took place at 3 Mile Lake in a little while. And Walter is Mr. Al's brother. Okay. And of course, now they're both deceased. And then the next one should be Mr. Howard Young Jr. Howard was 87, a nice age, just a fine, white type guy, big fella, tall fella, I guess 6'6", and served on the Slimco board for 30+ years. And his father was one of the founders. Mr. Howard Young Sr. was one of the founders of Slimco. There were 2 people kind of in that same area. Mr. Howard was nearer Opelousas, but Mr. Dewey Ledoux Sr. Was from Prairie Ronde. And when he died, his son, Dewey Ledoux Jr., he took over, and of course he has since died. But just a little bit, Mama had some fine, good words to say. Howard was a deacon in the First Baptist Church in Opelousas. On Sundays, he'd go to several of the nursing homes and pray with those that wanted to come and sit and listen to his prayers. And Mama had the sweetest thing. She'd say, Shad, that's a good man. That's a good man. He talks so good. He makes you feel that God is right there with you. Isn't that wonderful for people to think those kind of sweet, strong words? Yeah. That was my mama, and that was Howard Jr., our deepest sympathies. And of course, we have Lil Bob. I think we have a picture of Lil Bob.
No. Said
no picture? Well, I thought we.
Oh, there he goes. Yeah. You got one.
There you go. That's Lil Bob right there. Lil Bob and the Lollipops. Lil Bob was my age. He was born in 1937. So sometimes during the year he'll make, if he's still 77, means it hadn't had a birthday yet. But whenever his birthday comes, he will be 78. Lil Bob played music ever since he was a youngster. He traded, what did he trade? He traded to get a drum so he could get out of the field. He traded something. Anyhow, he traded I hate not to have it.
Some sort of
traded a horse
there you go.
For a set of drums so he could escape back-breaking work in the fields as a sharecropper's son. And then he played drums with Good Rockin' Bob. We all knew Good Rockin' Bob. Good Rockin' Bob, I can still see him riding his horse. He loved to ride in the parades and had a good band. And of course, having Lil Bob on as part of your show, that made you pretty good. But in 1958, he opened his own. He went out on his own, and he broke out with his own R&B band with horns, sax, and a piano. And that was during a time of racial segregation. But Bob and the Lollipops became a top draw at both the white and the black places of entertainment. And Southern Club, of course, was one of them. Bradford's White Eagle was another. And then when Toby's Little Lodge opened in Opelousas, he became a mainstay every Wednesday. Before I bought it and during my time, he played every Wednesday, he and his band, every Wednesday, and a lot of Friday and Saturdays. So I guess he played as many times at Toby's Little Lodge as any place that he played. So our customers knew Lil Bob and we loved him, and a good person. You know what I mean?
That's where he's celebrating his birthday right there, is at Toby's, his 75th birthday.
Yep. That was his 75th birthday,
75th
right?
birthday.
That was 3 years ago, approximately
In
3 years
13,
ago.
right.
So, Lil Bob, we're gonna all miss you, and he entertained a lot of us, and you're gonna see and hear a lot more. Southern Club, he was a
Sure.
regular there, and everywhere, as I guess you could say, he was desired. Had he had the right promotion company backing him, there's no telling how far he could have gone, because he had a voice that was, and just knew how to adapt to other people's music and make it sound like he had written the music.
And of course, famous for Nobody But You, and what everybody knows is I Got Loaded.
Yep.
That was his big
And what about
singles.
the stomping? Well, anyhow, I'm not a musician. I depend on you. But anyhow, Lil Bob wrote and made quite a number of records here.
Definitely an icon in the music scene.
Right.
Yeah,
okay,
absolutely.
next picture. Guess we're
Well,
going to the
you want
boat.
to talk about the boat races,
Yep,
yeah.
that's the boat. That's a picture from my deck.
Nice view.
Yep, overlooking 3 Mile Lake.
And it was July 4th weekend.
July
so I
4th
see all the
weekend.
decorations.
We've got the decoration. That's my neighbor. That's Dr. Carrie and Miss Rita Hernandez from Lafayette. And
There you go.
I think that was the first boat, and the picture kind of looks like it's foggy. It's not. The weather was beautiful at that time. The camera had fogged up when I went from cold
Cold air
inside
to
my
hot.
camp to hot. But anyhow, we had approximately between 50 and 60 boats again this year, and we're going to go through them real quick. We want to thank everybody just for doing the decorations and participating. The people are very excited with the new program that we're starting. We're going to be getting rid of all the big bad fish, and coming spring we're going to be loading the lake up with fingerlings, and hopefully get it back to where it was when we were younger, and would go to and catch sac-a-lait and brim and bass, I might add. I think you're going to be seeing a lot of that taking place just as soon as we can clean the big fish out. And they've started, by the way. I want to report to everybody that has a camp out on 3 Mile Lake. We have all that's the Yes Band.
I like that. Kiss.
Kiss Band. Okay. That pretty good
That was funny,
decoration,
yeah.
huh? Pretty good decoration.
Very nice.
Dr.
They went all out.
Savoy's UL boat won one of the awards. I think that's it right
That's
there.
it, Raging
That's it.
Cajuns.
Yep. Just about got the boat down to the bottom of it. They got it loaded down.
Yep.
Thank you for participating, all of you, just everybody, decorating and becoming a tradition on the lake. And it's not every lake that you can get this kind of participation.
No, that's great.
And this year we're going to also have a Christmas
that'll be
parade.
nice.
And we're going to try to do it at dusk. And we're going to try to have everybody's camp lit up so that
That'll
when
be
you're riding,
nice.
you're going to be looking at instead of looking at the boats,
You're going to be looking at the camps.
you're going to be riding in a boat and
Looking
looking
at
at
the
the
camps.
camps.
I like that.
Should be real nice. And this
Very
is Saturday afternoon. A newlywed couple I learned, Miss Lisa on the right and Mr. Pete on the left. And we just want to tell them thank you and good luck to them. They're my neighbors at 3 Mile Lake, and looking forward to having a good time.
Some good stuff on the grill there.
Saturday afternoon, no, was it Saturday or Sunday? Sunday invited, well, I'll take it back. It must have been Saturday.
What's that, some shrimp?
It got shrimp, I've got fish, I've got corn.
What are you doing? Shish kebabs.
And I got shish kebabs. I mean, pork, have everything on that pit. I hadn't cooked in a long time. That's Carl right there.
Yeah, you usually have somebody doing that.
Yep, but Dad's little daughter, Emily, cutting up. Oh, she loves to have fun. And that was Mr. Joe Rink, by the way, standing up.
Oh, okay.
The big man.
Yeah.
There. My partner in the horse
we
industry.
saw Joe last week in another picture.
Yep, that's correct.
Great.
We had a good weekend. The people were playing in the lake. And this is Saturday night. They had the big Legends event. And this gentleman here was interviewing and filming all the winners in the winner's circle. And his name is Cooper. He's Chad Cooper, and he works out of Beaumont, Texas. He knows Joe Ramey with the print shop over there in Beaumont, and he does these special events at both Delta Downs in Vinton and Evangeline Downs in Opelousas.
Okay.
Real nice guy. He came up and visited with us and just helped make the night fun. And there's Lisa and Pete. They attended the races,
that's
and
the
that was
newlyweds.
that's right. And Lisa's first time there, and I can tell you one thing:
Yeah?
she will be back. She had a blast.
Good.
Had a blast.
Good.
And there's Miss
there's Miss
Vicky
Vicky.
and yours truly, Mr. Bobby Dupre.
Dupre, you said Dupre this time.
Yeah, well, that's what
You
a lot
change it
of them
up every
call me.
now and
Well,
then? I know
that's
that,
what they
but-
call me.
All right.
And
That
this
looks
is
like a movie
Sunday.
scene
This
right
is
there.
Sunday at our sponsors restaurant.
Oh, that's at the
Steamboat,
Steamboat.
and
we do have
that
to
is
talk about
Iggy
them.
Castile on the left and former Mayor John Joseph on the right. And Mr. John was honoree. They were having a party for him, and look how good he looks. And we had a nice, he came over to visit us, and Iggy was sitting at the next table with his wife, Deanie, and there's a black and white, good picture, a little secluded area where
what I
very
said when I saw the
private.
last picture, I said it looks like a scene from a movie, but that just shows you right there the Steamboat Warehouse, the atmosphere that's inside there. These pictures
what
are
you can
just,
create, that's
that,
correct.
That looks
Vicky
that looks
loves to take
professionally
pictures.
done.
Well, she is a profession.
Yeah.
She wants a camera, a real camera. She's
Well,
got a
get
nice
her a
one, but
camera.
She can pick out, scenes. You got to have an eye for that.
Oh yeah.
She's
Yeah,
got
you
an
do.
eye for it.
Yeah, you do. So Steamboat Warehouse, and there's you and Meg over at the Steamboat.
Meg had come in from
So she was in this
Houston,
weekend.
and
Nice.
she was in. Yep, and we got to visit a little while there, and she's doing well, enjoying, and she tells me to tell all her friends hello. And she's not going to be staying in Houston now, anyhow. She's got another year of college. Tulane, she'll be a senior.
She put her shoes on to drive down here, huh?
yeah.
He used to fuss her about driving in flip-flops.
First time I saw her, she was using flip-flops. I said, get some real shoes.
Yeah,
girl,
you
to
can't
drive
drive in
that car."
flip-flops, but you know what? I'm doing the same thing right now, fussing at mom for driving in flip-flops,
yep.
so I can relate. But talking about the Steamboat, you see it there in the background. The Steamboat Warehouse in Washington is a totally wonderful place to bring your family, to bring any of your work. And Dylan, if you want to switch over to my computer, you can see the video that's running in the background here. You can see the grounds there. Chef Jason Hugay will prepare you well, never mind, we lost the computer there. But Chef Jason Hugay will prepare a wonderful meal for you over at the Steamboat Warehouse in Washington.
Historic
Washington, that's right.
Historic Bayou Catawba, I might add, also.
That's right. Well, we've got a break coming up, so let's go ahead and take that right now, and we'll be back in 1 minute.
Welcome back to the fourth quarter, and we're going to be running right on through it. We've got a lot of good things to mention and show you a couple more pictures. And first of all, we want to get our two sponsors that we have.
Let's talk about 5 words, 1 purpose. That is the LHC Group's motto of it's all about helping people. LHC Group has 10,000 employees, 300 plus locations, and they're located in 29 states. We always said they were all over the United States, but I mean, that just illustrates it right there. They've grown from very humble beginnings over a cup of coffee to this multi-state, 10,000 employee driven company.
Can you imagine?
But you can still get their services here locally. The St. Landry Hospice and Palliative Care on Heather Drive is one of their services, along with the Louisiana Family Fitness Center right next door on Heather Drive. Those are two locations in Opelousas you can visit. So the LHC group, it's all about helping people. And we want to talk about Dixie Storage, located in Port Barre. That's McCormick, the McCormick companies, and whatever kind of storage you need, be it large, small, medium size, air conditioned, not air conditioned, corporate, you can do any kind of storage you need with Dixie Storage. Combined, they have over 1 million square feet of storage, and they have rail spur access at their Port Barre location, and also locations in Opelousas, Washington, and Port Barre. That's their 3 locations, and I understand they're building a new location in Opelousas right now, so there's going to be even more storage space.
Converting one of their buildings that the tenant moved out, so they decided, hey, we're getting calls all the time. We're having to turn business down. Now we're going to have another probably 250,000 square feet of space.
Well, give them a call over at 585-4553. Visit them online at dixiestorage.com to see what they can offer you.
Ask for Joy. Okay, and our next picture. Dylan?
It's coming up. Might have a little hiccup in there. There you go.
Okay, that was going in to Evangeline Down Training Center, where I showed the horses being shown to us by Sam Bro, one of the outstanding leading trainers at Evangeline Downs. In the 4 Louisiana tracks, let's put it that way. He trains and races at all 4 tracks. That picture here is Mr. Raymond Shake Snyder, who is attending the gate at the Evangeline Downs Training Center, which the training center is where the old Evangeline Downs used to be. But it's still got a good track there to train your horses, and a lot of stables to store, to house your horses. I'll get it out. I'll get it out. Okay, and do we have any others? Yeah, we have another one right there.
There you go.
On the right is my sister-in-law, Miss Wilda Dupre, Cody's wife. In the middle is Norma Lee Dupre. And of course, my brother John was her wife. He's deceased now. And on the left is their sister, 3 sisters, and that is Rosemary Rayo. And Rosemary lives in Houston, and her husband, Frank, passed away a couple of years ago. And this was sent to us by Jean Dupre Widow, and Dr. Anthony Widow's beautiful little wife there, and a daughter of Norma Lee. Okay.
That covers all of our pictures.
All of our pictures that we have. All right, that's first time in a little while. And I've got a good reminder here. There was a special lady that's been listening and watching the Bobby Dupre show for many, many years. And I'm speaking of Miss Helen O'Ray. And she's from the Sunset Grand Coteau area. And her birthday was July the 7th, which was Tuesday. And she has been probably listening to the Bobby Dupre show since I first started 40 years ago.
Wow.
I would say that she has been one of the listeners from the very beginning.
Back when you were a teenager.
She's 93, so you can understand why she was a young lady when she started watching the Bobby Dupre show. And another person that I'd say probably has listened since the very beginning and watches now, and I'm speaking of Mr. Marion Horman, and he's in his mid-90s and still driving. If the last time I talked to him, he was still driving. And Mr. Marion has, I would say, been listening, and I'm sure there's a lot of others out there, but those 2 come to my mind as I was writing my notes to talk about Miss Helen. And Miss Helen and Mr. Marion, I hope y'all have a lot more good, healthy birthdays. And may you always be able to listen to the Bobby Dupre Show.
Absolutely.
Okay.
Well, while you're looking for your next thing, I want to remind you there is going to be a ribbon cutting ceremony for Curves by Ashley in Opelousas. That will be on Friday, July 10th. The ceremony will commence at 4 p.m. There's an open house there all day, though, from 6 a.m. to 7 p.m.
Women's World Cup. The United States has a hot shot team. I mean, they are really fired up this year. They won the World Championship. They defeated Japan. I think it was 5-2. To get to the Women's World Cup championship game, they defeated Germany 2-0, and they have really come on strong, and proud for the ladies. And last Saturday night was a big night at Evangeline Downs. I briefly talked about it, and there was some nice articles written about the races that took place, and in particular, they wrote about a little friend of mine that has really come on strong the last few years as the leading jockey at both Evangeline and Delta Downs. He's leading at Evangeline by a large amount. He could probably go right at another track and still be the winner at the end of the season. Yeah, he's that far ahead of next racing. And he's got good competition, but he just rides for the Boberg stable, and they get the winners. And Colby, and of course I'm speaking of Colby Hernandez. Of course, he comes from a family. His father was a jockey. He now works at Evangeline Downs. His sister is a jockey, Courtney, a young apprentice jockey. And then he has a brother, Brian, who races in Kentucky. And so it's all in the family, you could say.
All in the family.
And they're doing and good people, I might add. Little Colby is a prince of a young man, proud of his little family. He's got maybe 2 children now. Maybe he's had a second one. I think so.
Young too. He's 26.
And the races last Saturday night were really good. They were very exciting, very competitive, and I think everybody got their money's worth. They had a little bit. They had upped the price on the buffets, but they had also upped the amounts of choices you had, and just the quality was just different items that made it.
They got to change it up every now and then.
They change it up, and they change it up for the big nights, and they charge you a little bit more, but that's okay. I don't mind paying. And I see here the other day, Acadiana Classic restaurant is getting a fresh new name, thanks to a chopped champion and his business partner. Christopher Thames and manager Leon Steele plan to open the Grand Coteau Bistro, they're going to call it, and that's Catahoula's. Catahoula's has been in existence on and off since, it says here, since 1996. I thought it was a little bit before that, but I guess 20 years to do it. So I haven't heard any more. This is May 31st, so maybe it's open by now, but I have not heard. Donald Trump has really created a lot of
talk. A lot of talk, for sure.
A lot of talk, and it really got the young contestants for the Miss USA contest. It really put them in. They got caught in the middle of what he said about the Spanish-speaking people coming to the United States, and kind of got out of line. And he's lost a lot of his sponsors, and he lost his television show sponsors. They have Relix. You ever hear of that? REELZ, I think it is.
No.
They're going to come in and supposedly show it, and that could be a Spanish channel. They're going to show it, and I think it's going to REELZ.
Reels.
Reels.
Reels. Yeah. Reels is Reels is one of the channels on like HBO, Reels, Showtime. And Reels is one of those channels on satellite delivery services and cable.
Yeah.
It's a cable channel.
It's a cable channel.
I was in Baton Rouge yesterday and I saw the billboards for the Miss USA pageant. So it's definitely still going on. And I asked the question yesterday who was actually showing it. I didn't know who stepped up, but that answers it. Reels did.
Reels, yeah. So anyhow, it's what can happen when you just, you know, he was making an announcement for his candidacy as president, and I'm speaking of Donald Trump.
Right.
And got into this off-brand talking, and that's Donald Trump. And there's some people that they ran a poll, and he's right at the top in the Republican candidates
some people
running.
like it. Yep.
They like it. So you know, it's bad the way it came down, but it might make him a front runner in the Republican Party. I'm not going to discount the guy. He seems to.
He's obviously been successful in other stuff.
Been bankrupt, I think, twice.
Yep.
And bounced back, and now he says he's a very wealthy man. So he better have some wealth, because he. I saw where retired NFL pro quarterback Jake Delhomme was elected to board of directors of Mid-South Bank. And
wow.
Just the week before, he was honored as and inducted into the Louisiana Sports Hall of Fame in Natchitoches, Louisiana.
And he's on the board at LHC also.
LHC board. So just a super, I'm going to just,
he is.
One big
Good
statement,
guy.
A super young man, always has time to talk to everybody that wants to talk to him, and they want to talk to him, and he takes the time to visit with you.
He's a truly great guy.
Thanks.
Really
I call you a friend, and I hope you call me your friend. And I saw where the time is up. Okay, we'll get into the camp, but in Thibodeau that the Manning family puts on annually. Jake attended that when he was an aspiring young quarterback. And we close by a prayer and a thank you. Dearest Father, your grace is my only hope. Make me always conscious that you are near me. Thank you, God, for bringing this program material to me. Hopefully I'll do it in an honor, a good honor to you. And I want to thank you very much, Matt. I want to thank you, Dylan, very much. And I want to thank all my viewers who keep telling their friends to watch the Bobby Dupre Show. We enjoy it.